keep the screen
Oh wait,
share.
let me turn off your stream volume on it.
Okay.
Okay, we good, fam.
Alright, share window. Alright. So let's get into this. So Lucian Thresh versus Draven Zyra. Alright, so this is
Yeah.
actually really bad lane matchup for you guys. The Zyra can poke you up pretty heavily. Thresh doesn't have sustain for you. He can lantern you out of an all-in, but the burst is really heavy. The best way to handle this lane is early push for level 2, try to poke out Draven. If they hit level 2 before you, you basically just lose the whole way through, because at level 6, their all-in is still better than yours. You can poke with culling, but pretty much every Draven rushes Death Stance now, so the poke won't stick. So you have to really win this lane pre-6, once it's 6, unless they make some huge misplay, like either like Zyra steps up and gets hooked, and you just all in them, then there's really not much you can do. Jungle matchup.
So we won this lane pretty hard, but like we were winning, but then we lost because of one bad decision that I made.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we lost because of me, but there
Well,
might be other factors too that I wanted to look into.
fuck me.
Do you know how to get rid of your profile picture on the bottom right? Because it's blocking my minimap.
You just close it, can't you?
I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't have any issue myself. Might be something on Skype. I don't really know. I haven't updated my Skype in a while. Okay. Okay, so early push in the lane. Exactly what you
Yeah.
need to do. I would honestly actually go Doran Shield in this lane just to handle the Zyra poke. But D-Blade, not the worst thing in the world. Just against a really heavy poke like that, Doran Shield is usually better. Okay, so you get the free level 2 push here because of Moonboo wants to start blue buff, which is really nice for you guys. You can just play up here. Okay, looking for Q poke. Okay. Don't step up so far forward to look for the double shot. So what happens here is you cancel your auto for your double shot, and you panic and try to get it off anyway, and you walk too far forward, because that one period was good to look for it, but as soon as you cancel it, it's not good to look for it, because now you're in a position where they can both trade on you, and there's a wave that you're trading into, which is bad.
Okay.
This last thing here, about to hit level 2 on one more creep. The wave is a bit too pushed to really look for anything. This doesn't even look for hooks, so that's fine. Just keep last hitting and shove this wave into the turret. Good hook. And yeah. Oh, no kill. Oh, Thresh didn't go ignite. Okay. That's fine. Good Zyra flash there. Good hook by Thresh. Good follow up. Didn't dash into the turret to get the double shot off. Pretty normal. Lane's going pretty well here. Your new starter bottom side, you know this because they leash at level 1, so you don't really need to be too afraid of a gank right now.
Yeah, I was keeping track of that.
Okay. So you can get this wave into the turret before you really need to worry about a gank. Okay. You don't want to be in a position where you're stepping up like you are here, and Draven doesn't have to pick between autoing you or a minion. Right here, when Draven auto-attacks you here, he's got literally nothing to last hit, and you don't need to be this far up to trade back. Just don't even step up in this case. Just back up, last hit this minion, and don't give yourself the opportunity to get traded on. Because you're not super healthy. You're at the point where you're going to be wanting to use your pot already, so don't let yourself eat free autos like that. Okay, just pop your pot now. There's no point in hanging on to your pot at this HP. You're not going to be able to heal up to full from Doran's Blade, Lifesteal, Feast, and Relic Shield. So just pop your pot at this point, so you don't like insta-die if they go for an all-in. They don't have Ignite, so it's harder for them to punish you, but if they have Ignite, it's really easy. Zyra flashes in, Exhaust snares you, Ignite, you're dead. Okay. If you're full HP, that can't happen. Okay. Good hook from Rush here, misses the fillet. Okay. Good poke. Oh. Okay.
Here, I flash forward, but Thresh got it. Ugh.
This is pretty fine overall. Dashing up here is a little scary, but all the plants are hitting Thresh, so it's not that big a deal. Trade Q back. Moo hits the Q. You just walk up, and I think the flash wasn't the worst thing in the world. Can't really anticipate, and Moo was flashing too. It's just a normal solo Q kind of thing. Everyone wants to flash as a curate. That's fine. So you can do one more wave here because Zara's dead, and then you need to get out of here because there's a high chance Nunu is going to be in the area, and you don't really have the mana to do anything else at this point.
Actually, I think I might have thought that Nunu was top side, so I still stayed. Because later, I was thinking that Nunu was bot side, so I didn't play as aggro.
Okay. So regardless of where Nunu is right here, you should just take the base because you're at mana and HP where the best you can do is trade farm. Yep. You don't want to be, okay, so I don't think you've got vision of him yet. When you're at that mana and HP, it's really good to just take a base once the wave hits turret because you're not really... If you want to be bullying the lane, and if you don't have mana, you're not bullying the lane, you're just trading farm.
Okay.
Okay, spawn here, you just bought double longsword. Okay, that's fine, bye.
I was actually going Reaver, the Reaver build this time because I was actually looking at pro builds, and I think that from what I I thought they were going Reaver for like more squishy teams. So I thought I'd give it a try.
Okay. Reaver build's fine. And Spike's later scales better though. It's really just a matter of preference usually.
Okay.
The Bork build gives you better dueling, and you spike real hard at 2 items, and then go downhill until 4 items. Essence Reaver build is you spike at 2 items, you spike really hard at 3 items, and you just keep hitting big spikes throughout. Whereas the Bork build is more early focused. I think that one's more consistent for solo queue, but the Reaver build isn't terrible either. Okay.
Here I was freezing because I knew that Nunu was gonna come back down a little.
Hold on. So, okay. So, okay. Slow pushing this isn't a freeze; it's a slow push, but slow pushing here is fine. Like you have so many minions, it's not freezing; it's shoving towards them. All you can do is affect the speed at which it shoves to them. So.
And then I just decided to just reset because so many little minions left anyway.
Oh.
Tried to. And then I think I might go ward here.
Yep, going to ward here is fine. This is a pretty dangerous time. Something you can do as like Lucian is just dash over and shoot the boss plant back over, so that's not a gank. It's not a gank route. Because one of the easiest ways for you guys to die is to that gank. Because if you see him in advance, it's really easy for you guys to walk out. Thresh can just land on you. But if the blast plant's up, the amount of notice you get before a gank is much lower.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nunu walks back bottom here, but you've got a ward, so he can't really succeed in the gank. So the lane is still shoving into them. You want to get it into the turret here to reset it and go back to the middle, because Thresh can't really look for hooks when the lane is this far up. Well, he can look for hooks, but you can't really follow up on them properly for a kill, whereas if the lane's in the middle, then you can follow up on a hook and go all in on the Zyra. And even at this point, you'll win against the Draven, because the Draven hasn't bought items yet.
Okay.
So what your main goal here should be to shove the wave into the turret, so you can bounce it off, reset it back to the middle, and then start playing to Thresh's strengths again, which is looking for hooks in the mid of the lane that you can commit to. Because you get nice poke, but you can't commit for an all-in, whereas if the hook's like right here, it's a free kill. Okay, so you see Nunu again. Should be pretty easy to get away from. Thresh wastes Flay. This goes really bad because of it. Oh, good flash actually. Okay. That Zyra stepped up and died. Didn't use summoners, otherwise that would have been really scary, but goes really well because you guys play it pretty cleanly. Okay. So let's just walk over this.
my graphics card just like. Okay, I'm good now.
Okay. So Nunu comes in here, hits 6. Thresh drops the lantern. It's not really worth going back to the lantern, and you actually don't want to take it because if you take the lantern, that means Nunu just ults both of you instead of ulting only one of you. If you walk downwards, then he has to choose between ulting Thresh alone or ulting both of you. There's no real need to be next to Thresh in this case because there's nothing for him to. There's nothing you need to block for him either. It's not like it's a Jhin or something who's gonna channel ultimate, and you need to be next to each other to block so he doesn't die. There's just no real point in being next to him in this case, so you don't really need to take the lantern. I believe he only throws it for the shield. I can't know his intention, but yeah. So Thresh, really bad play there. The reason I say that is because now there's no CC to cancel Nunu ultimate. So Zyra steps up here, just pretty clean. You guys are on the same page. Take her out really quickly. Dash out of the Nunu ultimate. Okay, so as soon as you step out of the Nunu ultimate, you start taking like small, tiny steps back into the ultimate to try to hit the Nunu. I'll just pause, like I'll take it to 2.5 speed. Right as you do. As soon as you dash out of the Nunu ultimate, you shouldn't be. You basically can't walk back in to hit him. Just look to hit Draven in this case while the Nunu ult's waiting. Like you turn back here.
Because he's preoccupied and I have a chance to hit
You turn back in. You don't want to hit that. Yeah, you want to just hit Draven there because you don't want to walk back into the Nunu ultimate. So then Thresh hits 6 off the kill. Box comes out. And you use the last of your mana on culling, which is really good. If you had used Cull, you wouldn't. I mean, if you used Q, you wouldn't have had enough for culling. Focus down Nunu here after he walks into the box. Finish him off with the last few bullets of culling, and then he hits the other part of the box, and you guys just run at him. So yeah, aside from those little like stutter steps and taking the lantern, pretty clean fight overall. Not really too much else to change about it. The big turning point was you guys turning on Zyra right as she came in before she used summoners, because that basically won you the thing. If you got exhausted by the Zyra, that would have been pretty much almost guaranteed at least one of you dying. So pretty well played overall. How much gold do you have? Okay. Should just be BF Sword Warhammer if you're doing E-Reaver. Pretty normal buy. Okay, good. You don't need boots because the lane is pretty much all the way into the turret. So yeah, let's speed this up a little bit. So you have like pretty much like complete lane control. You've got a huge item lead on him, and the lane is pushing back to you. So you want to just let this come into you. You just want last hit. You don't want to push.
Yeah, I last hit here.
Okay. A little scary without knowing Zyra's positioning. Let me actually check your vision. You do have.
Zyra backed later than Draven.
You're fine.
So I knew that she was late.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, just be very careful of dashing up like that when you don't have vision of the bush if it's possible for her to be in the bush. Because if you're in that position, you dash up like right here and she ends up being in the bush and you get hit by a snare, you're dead despite the fact that you're ahead in the lane. Yeah. And also make sure you're queuing the enemy champion and not the minions when you dash up.
I didn't even realize I queued the minion.
Yeah. Yeah, initiating, and when you don't have blue buff, don't be initiating. If you're gonna all in like that, try not to use your W all the time because then you just go really quickly and you want to be able to use your mana for queuing. Once you have Essence Reaver, you can initiate with W all the time, but before Essence Reaver and without a blue buff, it's usually not super worth it to look for all-ins with W. Just look for Q poke more often unless they're already kind of low and you're just trying to keep the pressure on. Because the mana ratio to damage, the mana cost to damage ratio of W in lane is pretty low. It's just for mobility and trades if you feel like you need it. Okay. So this lane is still shoving into you, which is exactly what you want because you can just zone them away here. As long as you're last hitting only and last hitting at decent HP, they can't really step up. Every single time they step up like that, you can dash at an angle and take a Q trade, double shot into Q into double shot, and there's not really much they can do about it as long as you make sure you dash in a way that you're out of Zyra's range. It doesn't really matter if you're in Draven's range because you'll win the trade anyway with your item. The The only way you're like lost condition in these trades is if you get Zyra snared. So if you dash up like right this way, so like right here, so you trade with Draven, but Zyra still can't really snare you, that's really good. If you dash up straight forward and Zyra can snare you, then that's bad. But dashing at an angle, just making sure you're out of this range is fine. Because Draven can E you, but the E doesn't set Zyra up for snare. Like the snare is too slow. So getting hit by E is fine here. And you have such a huge level lead, and you have such a huge gold lead and level lead at this point that like it's very hard for you to lose trades. Okay, so the lane is gonna slow push into the turret now. They're still fishing for hooks. Okay. So hit the turret here. Shouldn't reset on this wave, but it'll reset pretty soon, which is exactly what you want, as we talked about earlier. Use your wards right here because you can't really do too much. You can't pressure too hard under this turret. Thresh, I don't think his hook's back up yet since he last missed it, and there's a reasonable chance that Nunu's here based on, well, you actually see him on a ward, but when do you actually see him? What is spotting him? This is, oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong vision. I'm an idiot. Haha.
Yeah, this was probably risky.
Yep. Just like go ward a little deeper because I don't think you ever cleared the blast plant. So you could do that too while you walk over, and you have an extra ward, and you're about to have two, so you might as well. Okay. So what you want to be doing is what Thresh is doing basically. When you don't have a minion to last hit, just be hitting the turret and force them to. When you start hitting their turret, most people panic and they'll throw CC, and then you just dash away from it, and then you can start hitting it again, and they don't have any CC left to try to stop you. If they walk up and try autoing you, just Q them and then dash away from the turret.
Okay.
And because if they're using autos on you when the minion wave is at the turret, they're not last hitting basically. So. You either force them to use CC and then you dash away, or they walk up and auto you and you just trade back the Q, dash out of the turret range before it hits you, and then they're missing minions and you're trading equally. And if they're further up, you can Q and double shot too. If they're far back on the turret like Draven was, you can only Q and then dash away. Okay. So, yeah. You can't really keep the lane in the middle too long, but you should make sure, as long as you can, you are keeping it in the middle, because it's so hard for Draven to step up in CS here. You're accruing like a huge CS lead right now, just by last hitting. Like you're missing some last hits just randomly too, but you're still on. You still have a huge CS lead because of how you've been playing the lane. So this is really good. Good, you don't dash to initiate, so you have it to escape here. Really good.
Here though, I think Thresh dies, but I don't think I die. I didn't want to all in this because...
Okay. So let's look over this. So Thresh hits a pretty nice hook. He goes all in on it. You make the correct decision and walk up to follow up instead of dashing to follow up, so you don't die here. So you walk up, Q, double shot. I believe it's W next. Gets blocked by the plants. Double shot. Snare comes out. You should have dashed the snare before culling. Not the worst thing in the world that you don't, but just a small thing you can clean up in the future. Dash out of the Nunu ultimate and the Zyra ultimate. Alright, dash out of the Zyra ultimate, not the Nunu ultimate. Start walking away. Thresh flashes. I wouldn't even bother healing him at this point because he's 100% dead. The thing about heals bonus movement speed is that if you're slowed, it's basically useless. It's only ever actually helping if you're just like in a straight foot race where you're not getting slowed, and you were basically out already at that point. You didn't need the heal. Stay and turn back a little bit of damage, but obviously they're way too healthy for you to do anything. It's good. Not really too much to change about that. Thresh kind of sealed his own fate by taking the hook straight in without any vision and getting snared by Zyra. It's good that you held on to your dash, because had you not held on to your dash, it would have been a double kill. Be really careful about committing for all-ins where you don't have full vision, because if you commit to an all-in without full vision like that, and that happens, obviously you're just dead without your dash. So good awareness to just follow up with Q instead. What a terrible use of Rift Herald that
I
was.
know, I was like, oh,
Jesus.
okay then.
Very interesting. Oh. So trying to shove the wave here. Fortunately, you don't have culling to shove it, so you have to use what limited mana you have on Qs.
I just decided to just back here. But it
No.
was a bad
Yeah,
place.
it's a bad back because you could have started channeling back, but as soon as you saw them showing topside botside jungle on the rafters to harass a Momo, you knew you were safe to do one more wave and then leave. And because of this, he's gonna miss a lot less minions than he should. Okay, so you just finished Essence Reaver and boots on your back. That's fine. What the hell? Okay.
Yeah, I realized that after I backed that it was a bad back. At the moment, I thought I was like making the wave even, but then after I backed, I realized.
Yeah. Not the worst. Actually, no, it was pretty bad because I could have frozen it on the second part with only the casters. I was about to say,
But
sometimes if you have a big enough wave and you know they're going back, so they won't be freezing it immediately, then you can get away with it. And you'll actually get away with it a lot just because people don't understand the concept of freezing in this ELO. But it's just not a good habit to get into, even if you don't get punished for it very often.
Fortunately, though, Draven didn't come into the lane until later, so it worked out.
Okay.
Here I got a little greedy to try to hit him another time.
Yep. That's fine. You have Pots and Feast and Dorn's Blade and Relic Shield, so taking just one turret shot's kind of whatever. Not that big a deal. So, same thing as before, you should be pushing the turret with autos this whole time. You've been pushing the turret with autos. The turret would be so low to a point where they'd have to concede first blood turret to you, or they'd have to all in you to stop you from getting first blood turret. So, it's just important. Those autos add up. When you're not safe, then like you don't know where the enemy jungler is, you don't have vision, then yeah, don't step up for it. But you've been seeing your new top here, and you've got one ward here, and you have a blue trinket, and you had trinket wards earlier to kill the boss plant, put a deeper ward down, so you can't even get lane ganked. So that I guess you being scared stems from the fact that you're not using vision as well. You should have really nasty hook by Thresh, pretty free.
I should have gone forward, but
yeah. Should have gone forward.
It worked out.
Doesn't really matter, yeah. So at that point, it was too late to get off the Zyra ult anyway. But yeah, doesn't end up mattering too much. They cancel TP because he dies, or what? What is? Oh no, he does. He finishes TP. He finishes the TP. It's just weird because you lost vision.
We kill him here.
Yeah, this is really bad TP by him. So, you should be spamming spells to push the wave. Well, okay. If the Mumu was still there, you should have been spamming spells to push the wave into the tower. Because you have Essence Reaver. And
so I was backing here, but then I kept watching them to see what they would do.
Yeah, so there's no real need to back here because you can get the turret for free. You could have got the turret against the Rumble with a Mumu there, like pretty easily. But because you guys take so long to kill him, the chance has passed now. It's not the worst thing in the world because you guys ended up losing top tower for first blood tower anyway. In a game where that's first blood turret though, you really need to put higher priority to finishing the turret.
Okay.
Okay. So you had 2200. It looks like. Yep, 2200. You do Tabi, Zeal.
I was like considering what to buy here. I decided to go with Ninja Tabis because Zettel and then Draven.
I think it's fine. They're both fine here, Treads and Tabi.
I was considering like which is better, but I haven't really been in contact with like the other people. But then Zed, I felt like he was gonna ult me. So I just decided to go with the extra armor.
Both are fine. It's not really like Zed. I'm assuming you do PD. PD is really nice against Zed, and then usually there's a GA near the end of the build for armor. Armor treads, Zyra Zara plants are pretty unavoidable damage usually, so is Rumble Ultimate, so treads are nice for that. Obviously, Tabi is really nice against the Draven Zed. It's really just a matter of preference. It's not a right or wrong thing.
Wait, so why is Phantom Dancer good against Zed?
Because he runs at you and you'll be kiting him, so you get the
Okay.
damage reduction against him. Because you're never going to, or at least I hope you never run away from Zed and not auto attack him at least once. Or like, if you're running away from Zed, you should either be culling him or you should be either putting out autos to try to trade kill him when he ults onto you. At the very least, you hit him with W, and Phantom Dancer applies on the last person you do damage to. So, you should always have the Phantom Dancer on Zed.
Here, this was kind of iffy because they all had their ults, and I didn't want to go in here. I was waiting for the Zyra to ult.
Yep. Aurelia recalls here, not even sure why he's here. Okay, so that's Nunu. Okay. Unfortunately, you don't have anything to kill to get your level 11. You're really close, so you can't get level 2 culling. Just put a full culling on a Nunu. Can't really commit to anything, just because they have more people and they have cooldowns. Heal's a little late, but that's whatever. Just a micro mistake. Happens. If anything, you probably would have just got Zed ultimate cooldown as well, but it's really not that big a difference. So just wait at the turret here. You don't have your blue trinket up to ward for a dive. So you see 2 people mid now, so you know it's a 2v2 here, so you can shove the wave safely.
I think we get turret here.
Oh. You guys are definitely stronger in the 2v2. Heimerdinger is a solo laner, as long as he doesn't eat plant damage for free.
And I see Nunu coming down, so I decide to go.
They start pathing back towards downwards, so you need to back up. You should be collapsing towards Amumu here, that's coming as well.
I ping that Zed is coming down, so I just...
Yep, there he is. Okay, go help him clear the ward. Okay, Thresh just got him actually. Okay, go back to bot lane here.
I think we might get the turn here, but I'm not sure.
Alright, let's really just wait for the wave to come to you. You don't really have river vision. Actually, Amumu is chasing now. If Zyra leaves, you can just run a Draven.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're running a Draven anyway. No way he gets a hook here, so just shove the wave into the turret. Good. Okay. Okay, got a move advantage. Yep, good that you don't commit your dash because you need it to get away from him. Whoa. So,
they ulted me.
So, don't walk so far forward when you're culling here.
Okay.
He's got him locked down with the ultimate here, and boom. Why do you need to walk forward, right? There's no need to walk forward. You're just hitting him with full culling. If he goes over the wall, then if he goes over the wall, it's not really your problem anymore because you can't safely go over this wall against like Zyra, Draven. I don't think you know where Nunu is at the moment either, but he's probably close. Yep.
I was moving forward to secure the kill, but yeah.
It's not worth putting yourself at risk because if this escalates into a full fight and you're down a Mumu ult at the start for one guy and you put yourself in a position where you die, then your team just loses the fight because you're the most fed member on your team right now, and this guy went Cinderhulk, not Rune Gecko, so he's more of a tank threat than a damage threat. Look how much damage you take just because you walk up here. Like it's fine to walk up like a little bit, but you walk up like right next to him.
Into his range, yeah.
Yeah, and he just ults you. If you walk up to a point where you're just outside of his ult range, like right here, then there's literally nothing you can do to get out of here because the reason he wants to use his ultimate to dodge stuff, and you give him an out by letting him use the ultimate on his priority target as well by walking into range.
Yeah.
So you give him 2 outs. So this is about to be really scary damage. Yeah. Like you're now at a point where you can't really fight properly because if you get hit by like Zyra plant damage at all, you're gonna be very liable to getting 1x'd by Draven ult into a flash auto, or even like Zyra ult into Draven auto. So thankfully you've got some pots, but you're not the Bork build, so taking damage like that is really detrimental to your staying power. So your team's
Yeah.
looking for stuff here. You
So
just
here
hit
I
the,
just decided to
yeah.
hit the turret. So it's like there's no way they can fight that right now.
Yep. So
Over
pretty
the
safe
wall.
here.
But fortunately, I think I die here. I might not, but I think I do.
You're okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so just a small thing. When you walk up to hit the turret like this, one, it's pretty scary to use your dash to a double shot. In this case, you're fine just because like Draven can't walk up to you at all. You're so ahead of the Draven that he can't punish you. Use your W behind the turret before you make it to the turret, so you have the longer. Like the earlier you use your W, as long as you make it to the turret to use your double shot before it expires, the earlier your W will come up for a second rotation of W into double shot. So
Okay.
you use it once you get to the turret. You can use it before you get to the turret, just so it comes up earlier or later.
Okay.
And make sure you throw it away from the turret, because if you get turret aggro with it, then obviously you can't hit the turret anymore.
Yeah.
So, this flash isn't really necessary. If you had W here, you could just W double shot him, then dash away, you would have been fine. The Nunu doesn't really do enough damage to threaten you either, because he's Cinder Hulk, so the flash is unnecessary there.
I get so scared of everything. Because I don't know the exact damage that someone does.
It's better to make the mistake not respecting than being too passive, because you learn more from it. So you're actually really split from your team during this fight. It's better to play closer to your team in this case, because you're a primary damage source for the team. When they're going in like this, you're close enough to follow up. Like you want to be walking up to be putting damage out too, and then you just get the wave later. If they don't secure that kill, and like Zed makes it back down, and these guys aren't low, like they can definitely stop you from getting the turret. It's really important that you secure the kills and then shove the wave in, because you can shove the wave in for free later.
Okay.
Yeah. Like theoretically, like if you were there hitting Nunu, a Mumu doesn't take as much damage killing him, and he doesn't die to Zed combo there. Like, there's no need for you to be pushing the wave in that situation, because you guys aren't diving, you're just running people down the lane. If you were diving and you needed the minion wave, then yeah, go get the minion wave, but that's not what was happening in that case, so.
Okay.
So, yeah, how much gold do you have here? Quite a bit, 2192, so, Phantom Dancer is the better buy here than Rapid Fire Cannon, just because it's really nice against Zed. If Rumble runs at you, it's really nice. It's really nice because Nunu will do like 0 damage to you if you have PD applied on him. And he doesn't have Red Smite, so basically like the Nunu will never ever be able to kill you, and it'll be really hard for Zed to kill you too, because you'll have Tabi and PD. Rapid Fire Cannon is okay, but it's just not better than Phantom Dancer against teams that are diving on you.
Okay.
And then probably the next item is just pickaxe here.
So when is the time where Lucian players go death stance?
You mean like what situation, or what?
Yeah, what
when
situation?
in your build? Okay. Basically, after it's like it doubles. It's basically a defensive item. So, depending on the stage of the game, you'll get it at different times. If you're feeling threatened still after buying Phantom Dancer, then you'll usually buy Death Dance over IE, or GA. Death Dance, some people rush it. I think it's a terrible rush. It's like a Bork substitute in the Bork BC builds, but you lose out on like all the attack speed. It basically makes you trade like sustained damage for burst if you don't think you'll get autos off in a fight. Death Dance is more suited for fights where you're not playing against an assassin or a champion who just like hits you from a huge range like Rumble, because if you get like Rumble ulted and you have Death Dance, you actually take more damage than you would otherwise without Death Dance, because the bleed damage you take in true damage rather than any mitigation from magic resist, even if you don't have a lot. It's still better than taking true damage from Death Dance bleed, because Death Dance is completely predicated on you hitting things while you're taking damage to heal through the bleed and heal off the bleed. But like against a team like this, where like what you need to be afraid of is primarily just Zed running at you, and making sure you don't sit in Rumble Ultimate. The Death Stance isn't super useful because you might as well just go PDGA and then the Zed can't kill you, and if you don't have Death Stance, then you don't have to be worried about like getting caught in like a Rumble Ultimate and just dying to the Rumble Ultimate because you can't hit anything while you're in it because it's too far range and dying to Death Stance. It's just really not useful in this scenario. It's really nice against stuff like tanks because if they don't kill you in like an initial burst, like most tanks just use their full rotation at the start, and if you're in a really bad spot and or if the tank is fed, it does like a 60-70% of your HP. But if you have a Death Stance, it'll only do like 30-40% ish, and then you just lifesteal through the rest of it because they can't kill you. But against like assassins, it's okay, and against champions like Rumble who like outrange the hell out of you and just poke you, it's terrible.
Okay. Here I dashed by accident, but it didn't matter. Here I also dashed to try to
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or not a movement, whoever it is. I think it was Zed.
Yep.
I don't know who it was. That was a bad dash, but I dashed by accident. Like, I didn't mean to dash so in.
Yeah, it puts you in a terrible spot. Holy yeah. It's really... Like, when your team is making plays like that, your primary job is still to kill the turret as the AD carry. So don't overcommit too hard to looking for follow-up like that. Especially if it makes you take turret aggro. You have to be really careful about that.
Yeah, I was trying to dash in another way, but I just completely fucked it up.
Yep. Right. So you tunnel really hard on dashing to the Zyra here when your team's picking different targets. As an AD carry, you really just want to hit what's in front of you and what your team's hitting whenever possible. It's way better for you to just follow up on your team here. Because look at this. If your team... It's a very high chance from this position that your team loses this 2v2 because you go to kill Zyra. And it's not even... It's far from guaranteed that you kill Zyra. It's like, just follow up on what your team's doing rather than tunneling on something on the side.
What I was thinking was that I thought that they would have it, so then I was trying to zone out Zyra.
Not worth the risk. It's pretty much never worth the risk to do that. Especially not when you're like you're definitely the strongest person on the team from a gold standpoint. Like you going off to chase a support is really ill advised. Okay, so I guess if you're going bottom anyway, it's fine to call out. You have Essence Reaver, so it comes up pretty fast. So going to catch the bot wave here. He's pinging for the dragon, but you need to catch the bot wave first. Good that you don't respond to the pings. The dragon will be there anyway. Wait for a Mumu. Waiting for a Mumu is better anyway. You need to catch the wave. Okay. So, good hook. This guy is probably dead. Just sitting in the Heimer turrets. Okay, good dash. You know, tunnel on the Nunu. Take the blast. Just kill Nunu. Okay, good.
I autoed the ward by accident.
Nothing really to change there. Very standard play. Go take the dragon here. Up. Okay. Okay. Stood there and kept damaging, and just walk out downwards now with your team. Good.
And here, Muma goes back in.
Okay, it's fine to call here. As long as you don't commit to anything else. Like, calling is fine. There's no point in walking up here. No point walking up here. You don't have anyone else to follow up with you. Culling there from a safe distance is perfectly fine. That's how you should be using culling most of the time. But yeah, there's no point walking back over because there's no real way for you to re-engage that properly. Like, this guy can't. He's too low to fight, and this guy isn't gonna survive in the front line long enough for you to kill people. Okay, so What do you buy here?
Here, this is really bad. I think I got a Bork, but I was considering like getting QSS or getting BT. But I don't think I should have gotten a Bork here. But I did. I didn't know like what to get.
Right here. This guy's gonna get really tanky soon. It's fine to go Last Whisper here or
I think I go the
Last
Vamp.
Whisper or GA are both fine here.
I go Vamp
IE.
Scepter and then go Last Whisper and then I go into Bork.
Okay, yeah. Bork isn't really. So with this build, you don't ever build Bork basically.
Okay.
You do Essence, you get your attack speed item, whether that's Fire Cannon or PD. Usually PD is better. And then you go. The third item is where there's the most deviation. If they have armor, you get the Last Whisper item. If they don't have armor and you need just damage, you get IE. If they don't have armor and you need survivability, you get GA or Death Stance. That's about it. You don't really ever build anything else in this third slot. IE is the max damage, GA or Death Stance is the safety, and if they're stacking armor already, and or like you got to the third item late, then you just build Last Whisper. That's it. There shouldn't be anything else in this slot, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bork is like potentially an okay like last item, but definitely not a third item on this build. It delays everything else like way too much. Because with this build, you want to stack crit, not Bork.
Okay. So IE was a better choice.
IE or GA or DD. Actually, yeah, DD is a little scarier. GA is probably just a better choice here for the armor. GA or IE are both fine here.
I was thinking about GA, but then Zed never really made contact with me, so I was like, whatever, I'll just go damage.
You're not really under threat here, and you're still getting pretty good gold income, so IE is fine here. Okay. So bot wave is coming in here, so you just rotate to catch that by yourself. At this stage in the game, you want to be telling your top laner to be catching bottom as much as possible. Simply because you got bot turret long ago and you still haven't gotten top turret. And if you go bottom at this stage of the game and like this like for some reason the thresh comes with you, they can force Baron really easily. They have Nunu and a Mountain Dragon, and you're the strongest person on the team. The second they see you bottom, it's a pretty easy maneuver just to go to Baron. Your team can't really stop them 3v5 that well if Rumble's healthy.
Okay.
So you call through the wave here to get to the turret faster. I don't agree with this just because at this point in the game, the difference in speed between you calling this wave and just killing it normally with Q and double shots and W, you don't have to worry about your mana because you have Essence Reaper, you can just spam spells. The difference is pretty negligible. You're not going to lose any extra minions to the other minion wave while pushing, and you really, really would like the culling if a fight starts, despite how low the cooldown is. Like, you might really like it in this fight alone.
Here, I knew that they were coming for us, so I was like, I'm gonna get this guy fast and then move towards my team. Because I knew they were gonna sandwich us, and then I saw Irelia coming, so I was trying to walk towards Irelia. And then I was getting ready to like juke Nunu through the wall, but then they focused Thresh, so I was like, whatever.
So if you have culling here, you get to put out some pretty free extra damage while this is going on. So the Nunu zones you away, you have to back up because you don't know exactly where everyone is yet. So you wait for your team here, you back up. You could just W call the Nunu right now for a pretty sizable chunk of damage. You might not end up needing it, but it's I'm just trying to illustrate what you could be doing if you still had your culling here. Okay, so Zed commits to full pushing top, so this doesn't really escalate into anything. You can actually end up staying or backing. I actually think staying is probably the better choice because Zed is forced off here, and you want to force him to recall. You can just hit the turret safely. Don't be using your dash to hit the turret this late into the game. It's too scary. It's a very high chance you can just get engaged on. And it's very rare that the difference between you getting the turret and not is you dashing for one extra double shot. It's just not worth from a risk reward standpoint.
Okay.
So they commit to middle, so you get the turret. And now you should just reset because you've got a lot of gold on you again. You've been backing with a lot of gold pretty much every time this game, which is really nice. Never really been hurting on items. So just reset here. Here, yep, pretty safe. If you're gonna back in the dragon pit, just back right there. So if they come over from the river, they don't see you because you're hugging the edge of the wall. Just a small little thing. Okay, so based on what you've bought, you would just finish Mortal Reminder or Lord Dom's here. I think Lord Dom's is better for Nunu and
yeah, I go Lord Dom's
and the Rumble. Mortal Reminder helps on Nunu and it's better against the Draven. So yeah, probably Lord Dom's here. And then you still have mana for Bilge Water for the Bork. Like I said earlier, Bork isn't really the preferred item here, but because you... Whoa, what the hell?
I was thinking about it and then I canceled.
Yeah, QSS is pretty much useless versus that team. The only thing you're QSSing is slows and Zyra Root, which you shouldn't be getting hit by anyway.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't really need it, so then I just switched.
Yep. Okay. Even though you had money for Bork, it's still better to finish Lord Doms in this case, because you don't really need the Bork. You still have money for Bilge Water after you finish Lord Doms. It's better to have Bilge Water, Lord Doms, than Blade of the Ruined King, Last Whisper here.
Okay.
Just because you want to melt the front line fast and move on to the back. And you don't really you need some lifesteal, but Bilge Water will give you the lifesteal you need.
I think we're coming towards the place where through the game for us.
It's okay. Okay, so you're just chilling with your team here.
So basically, I was thinking of hitting it and then like turning when they came, but then I fucked up. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this.
What's the fight?
Because I got zoned out, so I couldn't really do anything to help my teammates in the front. And here, this is really unfortunate. And then I just got a shutdown here. It's just...
But, so...
bad.
For starters, starting the Baron...
That's a bad idea.
If your tanks walk up next to the Baron, you can start it. But for starters, you don't even want to hit this Baron. If you don't have lifesteal right now, you're going to start the fight at 70% HP, which already is really bad. The only reason you don't start this fight at 70% HP is because you have lifesteal. I don't think the call to start is terrible, but if you're hitting this Baron randomly and you haven't said in chat to your team, start and turn, and your team doesn't know what's going on, then it's going to be a mess, because some people are going to peel off and some people aren't going to understand what's going on. They're going to stay on the Baron, and this fight's going to be a mess. Heimerdinger walking up towards top is one of the biggest problems with this fight. But that's pretty much just because I'm pretty sure you don't tell your team you're starting the Baron before you hit it. So this fight starts not terribly, honestly.
I could have turned on the Rumble instead of the Nunu.
No, just you're hitting what's in front of you here. It's completely fine. It's completely fine. The only thing I would change is you start culling way too early. You're not really under threat from the Nunu yet. But you start culling like really early. Like, let's take into account when you're actually being threatened by Nunu. He's stunned, so you walk up here, you Q him, double shot, start walking away. You can just keep autoing. There's no need to be culling yet. You can save your culling until you're more under threat, like right now. As soon as he starts ulting, you can start culling away from him to cut out of the ultimate and create distance. So this fight goes poorly for other reasons than the fact that you guys start Baron. Starting Baron isn't really the reason you lose this fight. It's mainly the fact that Heimerdinger... Watch Heimerdinger in this fight. Yeah. What does this guy do in this fight?
I just wanted to force a fight.
Yeah, that's fine. You just need to communicate to your team that, yo, we need to set up, start the Baron and then turn. Regardless, Heimerdinger should have been walking this way, but like mechanically, there's really not that much else you could have changed in this fight. The bigger problem is really just the fact that Nunu walks at you and does his job, so you do your job, you hit the front line, which is all you can do. You can't walk past Nunu. Like, what are you gonna do? Walk past Nunu into the Zyra ult? Like, hell no. There's nothing you can do about that. You have to just hit what's in front of you here, which is what you do. Only thing is you cull too early, and like you have Bork and crit items. Like your culling doesn't do anywhere near the amount of damage that your autos do at this stage of the game, even without your IE. Culling in this situation is something like the Black Cleaver Bork build would do, because that's the easiest way for the Bork Black Cleaver build to build stacks. But you don't need to build stacks here. Your Last Whisper, you have Bork for auto attacks to cut through all of the Stoneplate HP, and you have crits too. Culling there reduces your damage so much. It doesn't reduce your damage to the point where you wouldn't be where you'd be able to kill Nunu and then just turn on Rumble for free here. That you don't kill them that fast. But it's still a mistake to be culling as early as you do. And it's better for you to walk backwards here and then dash to this wall and take the blast plant over and try to get out that way, because the way this fight went, your front line just gets cleaned up because Heimerdinger isn't there supplementing damage, so they just get cleaned up. This guy just get cleaned up by them too, because there's not enough damage. So you're left on your own. Like at this point, you should already know this fight is over. And you should just be making contingency plans to try to get out as best you can, and the best way to get out is not to turn here, but to dash over and take this blast plant and get out, because these guys don't have dashes to chase you.
I didn't even think of that. I thought I was screwed, so I just started.
You have flash too to get to the plant later, but you just kite away. And yeah, the fight is over. There's no way you're going to get out from this side. The only way you have is to cut back to the left and then run down the lane. And then Heimerdinger is just dead here.
You know what's funny? Heimer was the one who raged the most that fight.
Yep. So you don't really have gold for anything here. Your next item should definitely, at this point, because you already have Last Whisper, you should just be looking to finish LDR. It's actually worth it to sell your Doran's Blade for Giant Slayer once you have enough. I believe it's 1,000. Doran's Blade is 180 sell. So if you get to 820 and you don't have enough to finish Lord Doms, it's fine to just buy the Giant Slayer and sell your Doran's Blade for it at this stage of the game.
Okay.
Alright, let's just speed up till you spawn. So they don't actually get Baron. They don't actually get Baron off that, so you're not in the worst spot.
We started losing after this though.
Oh. Doing the dragon here. Knight's Vow on you again. Free dragon. Oh, so 2 mountains. If you guys want to rush a Baron, you'll be able to. Your culling will destroy the Baron with 2 mountains. Click on the Rumble here. Once again, no need to open with culling. You're not under threat yet.
I didn't want to all in because
you don't need to all in. We said you had all in here. You just walk up and start autoing. You don't need a dash. Just walk up, start autoing.
Oh,
start autoing, start autoing, start autoing. As soon as the threat comes in, dash away, start calling. You know?
Okay.
You're not under threat yet, so there's no need to call. Yeah. Opening with culling with the crit build is almost always bad.
Okay.
With the Black Cleaver Bork build, opening with culling is still not great, but it's more acceptable because it's the fastest way for you to build Black Cleaver stacks on people. But with this build, your autos do far more damage than your culling. The only time you should be using culling is when you're not in a position to auto attack, because either you're out of range or you can't walk into auto attack because you're too low and the threat on you will be too high if you walk into range. So you shouldn't be channeling recall here at all. It's pretty apparent that they're on the Baron, and you're a big part of trying to stop it. You can't really afford to give away a Baron for free here, regardless of you having enough of your item, which you don't even have. I'm really not sure why you take a recall here.
I just thought that we wouldn't be able to stop it, so I just backed.
If your team is committing to stop it, you have to follow them. Unless it's completely 0 chance, which I don't really think is the case there. It's a low chance, but if you're there, then that's extra pressure on the team to stop you instead of the Immune Moon. You can potentially get a steal. Because if they get the Baron, you're going to lose your turrets anyway. Even if you go die and stop them and they get the Baron, you're still going to lose the same amount of turrets.
Here, I was trying to get the inhib because it was like last resort type of thing.
it's fine to push the side lane right here while you wait for Mumu to spawn, but as soon as a Mumu's close to respawning, you should be walking with your team because you aren't built to split against Zed. And while there's a small chance you can split against Zed, he has Baron, small chance you can win a fight against Zed. There's no way you're ever making it to that inhibitor without being accosted because they have Baron recalls. It's a play that's never going to succeed. You have a better chance of just walking with your team and looking for a team fight because you're not, your team is pretty much, well, your team isn't really built for anything. Your team kind of sucks, but you have a better chance in 5v5 than splitting, especially because you're not built to duel. You know, if you had PD, DD, GA, then yeah, you can try to fight the Zed, but you're built for team fights. You built crit to melt frontline and just go target to target in fights. You can't be looking for split like that, especially against Baron. There's no chance you even make it to the inhibitor, let alone kill the inhibitor. As soon as, it's fine to catch that bot wave so they can't use it with the Baron, but as soon as a Mumu is close to spawning, then you have to go back to base and just get ready to fight with your team, because you have a much better chance winning a fight than anything else.
We lost because of me.
Not necessarily. Okay, so your team is now making the same mistake as you, where they're pushing top for no reason instead of coming back to look for a fight, because you guys have a Mumu. Like, your best chance to win the game is fighting, and now you're
Amelia and Heimer were actually fighting at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They're fighting over the top.
It's irrelevant.
Farm.
It's irrelevant. So, okay, so you actually make a pretty large when you go back to base here, you need to be walking into the back part here so you heal faster. You stand right here, away from the center, so you don't get the home guards, and you heal slower.
Yeah.
So you're just coming out like slower. Regardless, it's not going to matter that much, but it's really important to note.
Just kill Rumble and then I just die. That's the last resort.
It's actually better to just sit back further here. Like, you still have your culling here. First off, you should full heal before walking out, and you should also either sell your Doran's Blade real quick and buy Giant Slayer, or buy a potion, or like an elixir, I mean, because if you don't win a fight here or stave them off here, the game's over anyway. It's actually better for you to just play back here, cull safely, and because if this guy recalls, then you actually have a chance to hold against them 4, because they don't have a huge, actually their wave is pretty big, but Zyra's pretty low. If they overdive here on both your turrets, you have Heimer, you and Aurelia, you cull, you stay safe. You have a lot of items. Like, you can potentially save the game if you don't trade yourself. Basically, like, it's a low % chance that you'll save this game in any event, but it's better that you give yourself a chance than no chance. Like, you know, if you stay alive under this turret and they commit to diving you, maybe they overdive and you end up cleaning people up. But because you trade yourself for Rumble, and they don't need Rumble to end, whereas your team needs you to be alive to have any chance of holding it all. So yeah, once again, like, it's not like, it's a very low chance that you stave off this push anyway, but you might as well give yourself a chance to stave off the push. Like, let's say like you were alive here and Heimer like came back, you know, maybe you can, like, this doesn't look like a completely unwinnable situation with like you and Heimer, you know. And yeah. Turn off your alt chat.
I usually don't pay attention that much to it, so I just don't turn it off.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. Just in case someone says something good, I don't turn it off.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Alright, in recap, lane phase, honestly, a lot of it was just, actually, the lane phase actually, no. Thresh hit a lot of hooks, and you were more playing off of him than actually having to look for a poke throughout the lane phase. So I can't talk too much about like how you play lane phase with a more like standard matchup where it's just like poke on poke and you're just trading and looking for good trades constantly. For the most part, some flubs here and there where you stepped up too far to auto attack, or you stepped up too far and ate an auto attack and didn't trade anything back. Some small situations like that. For the most part, you following up on all-ins by not dashing and just walking up and queuing, double shotting. So you put yourself in a good position if it gets turned around on, like if Nunu came a few times, is really good. There's very few times where you dashed in and got yourself killed because of it. Most of your dash-ins were actually like outside of the lane phase, like when you dashed up here. So that's good that you have the awareness. You understand that using your dash to follow up on stuff is pretty much 100, like only if you're going for like 100% free kill kind of thing. So that's good that you can. That's good that you know that already. Your cullings, they all do. You're too focused on culling minions. There's a lot of times where you cull minions where there's really no need for you to cull minions. The only times you should be culling minions is like right around like level 6 where your culling clears the minion wave significantly faster than 2 Qs and autos do. Once you get out of like level 6, like once you have like one item, your culling isn't really significantly faster than double queuing, to the point where it's worth using your culling cooldown to push. And like at that point, like the only time you should ever be using culling to clear minions is if they're sieging on you.
Okay.
Your culling is really important. Some of your cullings, like I pointed out earlier in fights, like your culling should only ever be used when you're not able to auto attack, and this gets exacerbated when you are using the crit build, because your auto attacks on the crit build versus your auto attacks on the Blade of the Ruin King Black Cleaver build, they're not close in damage. The crit build beats the Blade of the Ruin King Black Cleaver build in damage for autos by a ton. So the fact that you use culling whenever you're safe to auto hurts even more when you're using this build. This build is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with this build. If you like this build more, go ahead and use it. But just know that you have to be way more careful about when you use culling than when you don't, because the effective DPS you lose on culling is insane. Like the Bork Black Cleaver build, there's times where if you cull, your DPS actually goes up. But with this build, it's almost always a loss in DPS versus auto attacks. And that's fine when you can't auto attack, of course, because when you're doing, culling versus nothing, obviously culling is a win in DPS. But when you can auto attack and you can cull, both are safe, then you obviously always want to be choosing auto attack. Especially if you still have your dash up, you don't really have, like, if you're not really sure when you're safe or not, like if you have your dash and you have summoners, 9 times out of 10 you're safe to auto attack until someone directly goes onto you, like if Zed flash ults you or something, or Rumble like flashes them towards you with like Flame Spitter, then you dash away, and then like then you like start calling if you don't think you can walk back into the fight. But if you have like your dash up, there's pretty much no situations where you should be starting to call, except for like those very rare situations where like a Mumu caught Zed here and you were calling as you walked into range, and obviously you made the mistake of walking too far into range. But if you're leading, if like time is of the essence, like it was there, where you were just like he was already in the CC and you were out of range for auto attacks, so you wanted to call to walk in, that's fine. That's fine to lead with calling there too, but those situations are pretty rare. You really need to make sure you're getting auto attacks off until you can't, and then you call, not the other way around. Okay. Build was actually a decently large issue. If you had Lord Doms and IE instead of Bork, a lot of the situations you would have been killing the tanks, or just everyone in general, way faster, just because of how much crit you have with ER, ER attack speed, or ER Zeal item, and then IE 70%, and the bonus damage from crits and double shot. Like the damage is insane. Your burst goes up so much. Make sure you're doing IE if you're not under threat, and Lord Doms into like IE or GA if you're really under threat. When otherwise, Bork is really bad on this build. You don't need the extra attack speed. You don't really need the lifesteal most cases. If you need survivability, just the GA is better, or even like a red pot if you really feel like you need the lifesteal. Red pot will also apply on your culling, so it's just better than lifesteal too, in most cases. Yeah, for the most part, like there's not too much to say about your team fighting positioning aside from there's not really too much to say about your team fighting positioning in general from what I saw in these. There's pretty fine for the most part. The only real issue with your team fighting was when you were choosing to auto attack, and when you were choosing to cull, which is something that you can fix pretty easily. That's about it. Do you have any questions when we finish up?
So this is pertaining to another game, but in this situation, like in this situation, I was playing Lucian, and their enemy team had like Annie and Malphite, and like other people who could like potentially kill me. They all had their ults up, and then we were like going at like bot the second turret, or not second turret, third tier turret, and like this Warwick was complaining to me that I wasn't hitting the turret, but I wasn't hitting it because I knew that as soon as I tried to go hit it, they would either flash onto me or they would just ult me like altogether. And I didn't have the confidence that I would be able to either flash out or eat out of it because it's really hard to like dash out of a Malphite ult. So in that case, do you think Warwick was right or do you think I was right?
If you have flash, you can hit the turret. Like, flash is way faster than dash. Dashing Malphite ult is pretty hard. Flashing Malphite ult is pretty easy. Because, like, the thing is, if Malphite is literally, like, next... Here, I'll just draw the example for you. So, let's pretend this minion is Malphite, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If this minion is Malphite, hell no, you don't walk up to the turret. If this inhibitor is Malphite, definitely walk up to the turret. Because if he tries to go for a long range ult, it's a really easy flash. Like, you can maybe even dash it at that case. Annie's a bit different. If Annie is this fucking minion, then hell no. Then, like, definitely not. If you're afraid of them flashing, engaging on you, that's different. Like,
well, they were pretty close to me in general, but then he was like, "I'll just flash it," and I was like,
I mean,
well,
yeah, you should be flashing it because if they all in for an engage on you and you flash it, then their engage is gone and then you can hit the turret for free. Sometimes you don't want to be in the situation where you have to pick between that. But if if that's your only chance to siege, then sometimes you have to just trust yourself to flash stuff like that. Like, it's different for Annie because Annie's is instant, but like stuff like Malphite, where if he's over here, like, it's a bit harder to react to. If you're hitting the turret from like right here. But if he's back there, you have a lot of time because there's a pretty decent travel time on his ultimate to get out of the range of it. Also to take into account, if they're hugging one side of the turret to pressure you, yeah, you can stay on the other side and create even more distance. And if that's a huge problem, like, the thing is, if they're standing right here or right here, pretend these are like Annie and Malphite on the siege, someone on your team should be walking up to push them back, or someone on your team should be poking them. And if no one on your team is walking up to provide frontline presence for you to hit the turret, then tell them, I need you to walk up so I can walk up. Because a lot of people just don't understand the concept of the fact that it's difficult for people to walk up and hit the turret if the tanks are jacking off in the back. Like,
yeah, there was no front line because Jinzhao was trolling at top and Warwick was like the only one there. But then like Warwick's not enough, in my opinion.
Depends on the situation, depends on the build, there's too many factors there. But like, if it's really a problem, okay, if it's really a problem that you don't think you can siege at all because their frontline engage is just way too threatening and no one on your team can create space for you to hit the turret, then just don't siege at all because it's pointless. You're not going to accomplish anything if that's the case. If you don't think it's possible to siege, you don't feel safe sieging because either your team doesn't provide enough presence or they play up too much or you don't have flash or whatever, then there's no point in sieging. You might as well just go find something else to do. And just like the thing is, like, in solo queue, like, it's different in like competitive. Like, in competitive, then like you sometimes have to risk it because you don't have another choice. But in competitive, the people also know how to zone the engage off properly and put them in a position where the people who have to hit the turret can react and flash away from the engage. In solo queue, you can literally probably just wait 2-3 minutes and then walk into their jungle and start a fight, so you don't even have to be in the situation where you have to siege. Sieging in solo queue, especially as low range AD carries like Lucian, is a pretty easy way to get yourself killed if your team isn't on the same page as you and can't provide presence for you to walk up and hit the turret safely. If you're confident in your ability to flash away and they're not playing as far up as like these minions are, then you can siege the turret. But if you're really afraid of sieging, then just don't bother sieging. Just try to do, like, in solo queue, like, fights start for like no reason. And if like Baron is up, that's a great way to start a fight too. Like, you don't have to siege in solo queue, especially as like low range AD carries. It's a pretty scary thing to do.
Okay. So for this exact game though, the one that we were watching, what was the cause for the loss?
You guys took a fight at Baron that you lost. That's basically it. Like, starting the fight at Baron is fine, It's the fact that you guys fought really poorly and then they took Baron and then they just ran over you. Like, you guys didn't have to start the Baron, but it wasn't like the worst thing in the world to start the Baron either, as long as you guys were ready to turn. Because in a team fight, you guys had a decent chance to win with your, like, you had a gold advantage. Like, as long as, like, there was a proper, like, actual 5v5 fight, not a 4v5 with Heimer taking the scenic route around and then flanking one person, the fight would have been fine. But the bigger problem is, like, you didn't communicate when you started the Baron, so it was kind of like a rush. And when it's communicated beforehand what the play is going to be, it's a lot simpler for people to be ready for the fight. Like, the Heimerdinger was, like, right here in this area when you started the Baron, and then it probably takes him, like, a second or two to process that you guys are starting the Baron, and by then he's already walking around this way. And as soon as you guys see that he's, like, not around, then it's your guys' job to pull off the Baron and back up. Like, starting Baron to force a fight when you are confident you'll win a fight is completely fine, as long as you're confident you'll win a fight and you're all actually there for the fight. The problem was you guys didn't actually fight. You fight 5v5, you fought 4v5, the tanks ran at you, you kited away, hit the front line, but you can't kill them fast enough without Heimerdinger either pressuring the back line so your divers die later, or Heimerdinger with you in the back line to help you kill the tanks. So then as soon as they get the Baron, then the game's kind of over, because you guys can't really hold at all, and also your team started trolling. That's about it.
So instead of Baron, what would you have done in my situation?
Oh, I think Baron was fine as long as everyone was on the same page. Like,
okay.
In a case like this where I'm fed as hell and the only person I have to worry about diving me is Zed, and I'm confident not playing. Like, if I would have built a bit differently, but like if I had like PD, like whatever, like normal items, like I'm like 11 kills, 12 kills, then I'm completely fine. I say yo start Baron and turn, peel me, and then I just kill everyone. Like, you could do that, and if you don't feel comfortable in your team fighting, then you guys can just your team comp kind of sucks at everything, honestly. But your team comp doesn't really have that many options. I mean, like, I guess if you could have built for split push or try to like 1v1 the Zed, but just your team comp doesn't really have many options because this guy fell behind. He can't provide any split pressure.
We couldn't really fight in the lanes either, so I was thinking that like forcing Baron.
Yeah,
forcing Baron
here is fine because your team comp excels at nothing because you picked Heimerdinger and Aurelia. So I mean, you didn't really have any choice. Like, your best case scenario honestly was exactly what happened. Mumu turns and gets a big ultimate. Like, the Zed didn't even dive you this fight because he was so preoccupied with having to hit front line. It should have been the perfect fight if Heimerdinger just sat in the back and killed tanks with you. Like, it's just it's like you think you're like questioning like everything that happened because the result was not what you wanted, but it's bad to look at result oriented things. Like, with this team comp in the situation you were in, you didn't really have another play. So you made the only real play you had, and you lost the team fight. But you shouldn't be saying, wow, we lost the team fight, I guess we made the wrong choice. When in reality, it was the only choice you had. You just lost the team fight because you guys played the team fight improperly.
Okay. It makes me feel a little bit better about my choice.
Yep. Anything else?
So you think just communication with my team?
For that, yeah. You don't ever have to talk to your team unless you're doing something with your team. But if you're doing something with your team, especially something that you started on a whim, you need to tell your team. Start and turn. Yeah.
I usually do this when I play jungle too. I like carry early, like I make plays early, and then we're like winning or get all snowballed, and then I make one bad decision. Or not like, perhaps it's not a bad decision like this case, but it just like happens badly and we just lose.
No. Just move on. It's just one game. It happens. Move on. I lose League of Legends games every day for no reason. It happens.
It's just a pattern for me though. I guess I just need to communicate.
Communication helps, yep. For sure.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So thanks for stopping by stream every day. Same thing. If you ever want to schedule again, then just hit me up. We'll get something sorted out.
Wait. One last question. Sorry. So to climb, what should I do?
Watch my 40-minute video.
Pretty much. But just like, I guess just keep playing.
Yeah. keep like everything I say in the video. Literally everything I say in the video. Play a lot of games. If you're tilted, stop playing. Play things you're good at, and you'll climb.
Okay.
Alright.
Alrighty.
See ya.
Yeah, see ya.
Alright.